G'day, readers and viewers of Embassy Direct, continuing with our 10th anniversary series of interviews, which are proudly brought to you by OUTsurance. And on that note, I am lucky to be interviewing now the CEO of OUTsurance, Danie Matthee. Am I right? Is that Matthee or Matthee?
It's Matthee, but it's close enough. It's good enough.
Matthee. Danie Matthee. My Afrikaans isn't very good, but he's going to teach me a bit, I think, on this. But let me tell you a bit about Danie. Danie worked his way up from being a sales advisor at one of South Africa's most dynamic insurance companies to being its CEO. Danie is an example of perseverance and hard work, of someone who believes in the future of this country and, like Embassy Direct, promotes good news. Danie, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Lovely to have you. So, why don't you share with our viewers your personal and professional background?
Sure. Yeah, I've obviously born in South Africa and raised in Port Elizabeth, which is a small coastal town. The friendly city, probably more appropriately the windy city.
Right.
And moved up to Gauteng and started in the insurance industry in the late 90s, which is a throwback to a whole different era. And yeah, been in the industry for close on 27 years. 21 of those spent with OUTsurance, really most of my career. So OUTsurance is like, it's part of my DNA and it's part of my blood. And I was fortunate enough over the years to spend 7 years in Australia. We have a great business in Australia, not under the OUTsurance brand. It's called UWI. And moved back to South Africa in 2017. Passionate South African, so happy to be back.
Good for you. So OUTsurance, I hear, is one of the most prestigious insurance companies on the African continent, not just in South Africa, but on the African continent. Can you give us an idea of how it became so successful and why you think it's so successful?
Yeah, thanks. I mean, that's a great compliment. I'll take it. But we work hard every day at very sort of what I would call basic things to help us drive the business forward. The business is built on great foundations of giving customers awesome service. We, take our responsibility with our customers' money and their premiums and the promise that we make to pay their claims out and really our brand promise of you always get something out very seriously. So I think the fundamentals of giving customers great service have always been well embedded in our value system. Business is built on really good technology, which has helped us to be very efficient and pass those efficiency gains back to our customers in premium savings. And, we have a very strong actuarial and data science foundation. So using the information that we get from those systems to make good business decisions, to drive better customer outcomes or, innovative products. And although we're a large business these days, I think we still like to keep that entrepreneurial flair of finding problems to solve for people is something that's very dear to us. So, that's a big part of our focus.
Yeah, fantastic. And it's growing. Apparently it's growing and growing sort of very, very big. And so can you tell me how and why this growth is happening? And
yeah, I mean, we in South Africa, I think over the years we've been successful in building out probably the largest direct insurer in South Africa, and over time we then started a commercial insurance business OUTsurance for specifically SME businesses, and then over time we changed distribution strategies. So historically very much through the call centers, advertising distributed to the call centers. But we now have an OUTsurance broker force of more than 600 people who are servicing and calling on businesses in the field every day. And as you start to grow into those bigger spaces in the commercial insurance field specifically, that face-to-face attention is important. You really need to understand the customer's business, their needs. It's not just the commodity off-the-shelf product. You have to build something bespoke. So I think that's been a big success for us locally. And also we have a great life insurance business and an investment business, so we like to sort of think we can go into markets where there's an opportunity to disrupt. And often that disruption comes in the form of giving customers better value for money than what they were able to get in the market by lowering fees, upping service levels, and thinking innovatively about product and route to market and access. So again, really keeping it simple, focus on the customer, making sure they get good value for money, making sure the service proposition is good. And then I think the key thing is we really have the best people in the industry. The people who drive our business and who work for our business are just sensational.
Yeah. So, everybody was hit during the pandemic, but OUTsurance sort of was resilient and managed to sort of stay above the rest. Is there any advice that you can give to sort of other South African companies to sort of maintain a level of resilience and forward thinking that OUTsurance has managed to do?
Yeah, I think we by nature of being in the insurance business, it's we manage risk for a living. That's what we do. So we run the business relatively conservatively, always well capitalized. When it comes to resilience, maybe two things. One is if you don't understand the business you're getting into, don't get into it. So if we can't price something, we don't understand the risk, we'd rather not take it on because we can only be specialists in so many things. And then secondly, again, I'll come back to the people you surround yourself with. You've got to have a strong team, and no business is the work of one person. It is a team sport. And in those tough times, it's the team who you can call on that gets you through the stormy water, so to speak. So, I think surround yourself with great people, keep it simple, be conservative in the good times, and hopefully when the tide goes out, you're not caught with your pants down.
I was going to say, because how much of that resilience rests on your shoulders alone, So as you say, you surround yourself with a great team, but do you have, does a lot of it still rest on your shoulders?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the buck stops. It has to stop somewhere, and that's usually with the CEO. But again, we have a great board also who we can call on, who comes with lots of experience and wisdom, and then a management team who's highly committed and focused on the fundamentals. And again, I think the fact that we keep things simple makes it easier. Simplicity lends itself to making fewer errors. If you overcomplicate things, there's a point where even the smartest blokes get lost in the complication.
Of course, happens to me all the time. Yeah. So you're proudly South African. You went off to Australia and decided to come back and invest your future in this country. And what do you see for the future of this country, and how do you feel you can contribute to its growth, and what do you see that growth as? And why come back in a way as well? What are the reasons for being here?
Oh, look, firstly, it's a personal choice. I love South Africa. I love the bush. I love the culture. I love the diversity. Whether it's the sunny skies, the Braaivleis, and the Springboks, or whether it's just the fact that we can, take our challenges as a country and use them to strengthen us, I think is quite unique. And that culture is something that I really hold close to my heart. And South Africa has phenomenal opportunities. In spite of some of the issues we're dealing with, whether it's the energy crisis or whatever it may be, we really have great opportunities. Those are opportunities to turn around. They are big challenges. Make no mistake. It's not a one-day game or an easy feat. But if we are able to turn those around, and I believe we are, and we're capable of growing the economy at 5 or 6% for a decade, create jobs, and that's where we play a really great role. Is as a company who's willing to still invest in the country and grow the economy. I think the opportunities are enormous, and I firmly believe the companies who are investing today will reap the rewards in the future. I think if you're sitting back and waiting, you might be at the back of the queue when the good times come around. And I firmly believe they will. We have challenges. We can't be ostriches with our head in the sand about those. But I also think there's enough good people who are willing to stand up for what's right and do the right thing and take us forward.
Yeah, that's great to hear. I'm a passionate believer in South Africa as well, so it's fantastic to hear that. Embassy Direct is heading for its 10th anniversary, and they're proud to be linked with OUTsurance. Can you touch on some of the networking opportunities? I suppose why OUTsurance has chosen Embassy Direct. What do you see?
Look, Embassy Direct, our relationship actually came forward out of a networking opportunity with a business that does a lot of work in the hospitality space. Now, of course, the ambassadors and their missions would often bring people into the country, and they would need places to stay and so on. So through COVID, really, what happened is we were able to connect with the hospitality industry in a very specific way. That, it was a tough time for them, and we were able to step up when we were needed. And I think that was the first sort of step in this relationship. And through that, we met Rodrigo, obviously, who heads up Embassy Direct. And he's played a key role in sort of introducing us to all the ambassadorial missions. And, if there's a way that we can help those missions be more successful in South Africa, whether that's protecting their own risk or playing a role in facilitating other networking opportunities for them, then I think the net gain for everyone is then, and we should play a role.
No, fantastic. Well, it's been a great interview with you, Danie. Thank you so much. And thank you to OUTsurance for being here and for being part of Embassy Direct. This has been proudly brought to you by OUTsurance. Thank you. Thank you very much.